You're listening to
Sticky Note Conversations with Erika Washington. Way below acceptable. Way below acceptable.
On this week's episode,
people tripping, man. Relationships are 100-100. You give your full effort, I give my full effort, and we do the best we can do together. All of this internet stuff is weird. Like, these people have no type of validity, no type of credibility.
Way below acceptable.
Hey there, Sticky Note listeners. This is your host, Erika Washington, and we are back again for another fabulous episode full of banter and conversation. You may remember my friend Alvin Hill. He is a former guest of this podcast. I think he actually opened up this season. He was episode number 1 of this season. And he was also featured on American Dreams, Reproductive Justice, our other podcast for the last season. I asked him to join because there were just a plethora of things going on in current events that I wanted to get his view on and talk about. And our conversation just connected a lot of dots. So let's listen to us banter about Cardi B and Bill Cosby, P. Diddy, relationships, and everything else that's going on out there in the world. So I hope you enjoy this conversation as much as we did. Did I hear that you're engaged?
I've been engaged. I don't know why that popped up on social media the way it did, but I just went in and I've been engaged for a couple years now. She's the same woman. I moved out.
Well, no, I thought it was the same person, but Will said something to me. He was, I was engaged. And I was oh, yes. And I said I thought they were engaged, but I was like, maybe I don't know what I know because I be thinking, because Khalid got engaged.
Yeah, I seen that.
I thought he was married, because he just seemed like a married dude to me. And so I thought he'd been married this whole time. And I was like, he got engaged.
It's just social media. I went on there and I think she changed it to single, or I changed it to single to be.
Oh, y'all had a moment.
We were beefing. No, we had 3 months. It wasn't a moment. Yeah, we had
a moment when you done been together for that many years. 3 months.
Yeah, but we needed those 3 months. It ain't nothing that I'm oh my God, I wish this wouldn't have happened. I needed that. I moved out and, sometimes people they gotta see it. And I needed some peace too. I went from basically jail to home and it was a little different than I expected it to be. So it worked out.
You ever lived alone?
I have. I lived alone more than one occasion, but I've lived by myself before I had kids. I lived by myself. When I first got out the state, I lived by myself.
I'm an advocate for people living alone for a while so that they can know themselves. And the most natural time would be after college or whatever, and you get your first apartment, whatever's going on, or at some point though, so you can understand who you are, what you like, what you don't like, start to create habits, healthy habits on how to function on a day-to-day basis, paying your own bills, being completely responsible for life, and knowing who you got to call for maintenance or whatever that looks like. Because I feel like a lot of times people never end up living alone. And I didn't live alone until I was in my 40s because I went straight to having kids and then being married and divorced and married again and all of that. And so even when I was divorced, I still had the kids with me, right? And so it's also not the same. So I think there's something too. And I asked, since you said that you moved out, you needed that, that space and that time to help you function feels like a necessity.
Definitely. The easiest thing to do is blame everybody and blame somebody else, especially in a relationship. Well, they did this, they did that. I just needed my space. So that's why as soon as I moved back, I went and got an office. Because I've done everything from home. I went to school from home. I did everything from home. And what I seen happen was my time was not respected. Not just between me and my fiance, but with the kids, with everybody. My time, being that I'm here, I'm available. Even though I'm running a business from home, and up until the beginning of this year, my fiance was braiding hair at the house too. So we were here and just dealing with each other most of the day, and between running the businesses, which we both do our own thing, it was literally her business it was a business where it was traffic at the house. And it was like, now you got strangers because she got better. So people would see somebody and it was like strangers. And I'm like, look, you might as well go over here. So she got a suite at the beginning of the year. It's a nice suite. And then with me, it was like, I'm here now. I'm really here more than you are. So when I go to do something, the kids are, Daddy, can you do this? Daddy, can you do this? And we got a 14-year-old that's about to be 15, 10, 11-year-olds. And although I wouldn't leave them here all day, it was like, you guys have to learn how to function without, Daddy, can you make me peanut butter and jelly sandwich? And you 12 years old. Like, this is not making sense. So it was a lot of that. It wasn't so much us just having real problems. And I don't think she respected how much I was doing. Like, I'm doing so much because you guys feel like I'm here. When she's doing hair, it's obvious you have a client. The only time my time is respected is if I'm on a Zoom or something or recording some content. And even then, I got to lock doors. I might as well put signs up. And it was like, look, I am working. So me getting the office was like the best thing that happened because I go sit in my office and it's like, do not keep calling me. When I'm at my office, I'm at work. I'm not about to answer anything less than an emergency. Let me work. So I may go to my office for 3 hours and do 8-9 hours worth of work if I was home because it's consistently stopping. And then even if I'm home, I feel like I need to clean up a little bit, do a little bit of this, do a little bit of that. And it was like, dude, go to your office and sit down and do work. And I'm going to go back to school in between 18 months and 2 years, I'll go back and get my PhD. And if it's not this office, it'll be another office where I can sit down and separate the personal Alvin from the business Alvin. It was needed.
Yeah, it's about boundaries, I think. And I think working from home, that's the side that a lot of folks don't talk about when you have families or you have folks in your space as well, of understanding that I'm working, even if it doesn't look like work to you, because I'm just sitting in front of a computer, being quiet, and then distractions. But you can also distract yourself. Like you mentioned cleaning. I was a big thing of, well, I can go down, throw some laundry in and do this, make something to eat. Next, I'm downstairs for 2 hours because I'm like, oh, shoot, in the backyard, I didn't go bring this in. Next thing you know, and I'm like, oh, it's 5 o'clock. It's getting dark out. And go back upstairs. And so it requires a lot of discipline, but not even just discipline for yourself, but discipline with other people, knowing like when to set these hard boundaries of you can't ask me nothing. You can't just be in here running your mouth or whatever at any given time. And that's hard.
Definitely. And my kids were like in all the sports in the world. So it'd be like, I'm available.
But also, it's hard to turn it off too, though, because I find that I'll work later sometimes and it'll be 11 o'clock at night and I'm still sitting in this office and I'm just like, you need to go downstairs and you need to shut it down because it's easy to do it. Look, I mean, it's a Sunday and here I am. And there's more work I'll probably do after we get done talking. But
yeah, I got some things to do. So I still got my desk here in my house, but I go to my office as much as I can, so I know I'm in work mode, and everybody else around me know I'm in work mode. It's just been better. It's only been a few months, but it's a lot better. And even with meetings, I don't got to run around the city and do meetings in coffee shops and things like that. So I had a bunch of meetings this week, people coming to the office, coming out the office. I'm going to start doing some monthly meetups, that's what I'm gonna call them. I kind of jumped the gun and was like, I want to do a mastermind, but I want to do some meetups first because I have a different concept of business. Like I got a different thing in my head, and I actually made a full course on Real Life XP. And when I made the course, it was like I'm trying to explain to people why this course is important, but you're talking about getting lost in all the noise of the internet where it's 1,000 courses being fed to you all day. And I want to start doing some more like cohorts and different things like that. I've been working with nonprofits, and I kind of realized that having an actual program is important.
When you say mastermind, this is mastermind to do what?
Business. I got an MBA last year. So basically, I have an idea of entrepreneurship for minorities where we fight even what we just talked about, even though that may be consistent amongst other other entrepreneurs, not just minorities, but we have things that we have to deal with that's a little unique to us. So I have a real life entrepreneur acceleration program, and it's called Real Life XP. It's something that I thought of maybe 2.5 years ago. So it took me it's been about 3 years. So it took me about 2 years to actually nail the course down, record the course, and I put it out about a year or so ago. And people were taking it, and I just in marketing it, I didn't think people really understood why I thought it was important. And people are like repackaging courses and things. And this is not that. This is actually me mapping out what I thought it took to be successful, to be an entrepreneur, how to work on the entrepreneurial mindset, how to overcome a lot of the things that I went through mentally as far as switching my life over and actually doing something legit and overcoming certain things. So it's a certain mindset that you have to have. So it's things that you have to have in your toolbox to be a successful entrepreneur that I thought was important, and it was not discussed enough, because people want to give you the glitz and the glamour of entrepreneurship, but they don't want to tell you the actual hard work. So the course is like 5 hours long. Like, it took so long for me to come up with it. And then it took so long for me to record the modules and the different things. It was like a lot. And I just, in marketing it, I realized people don't get how important it is for you to have the right mindset. People don't get how important it is for you to have systems and processes once you actually start the business. And then you go to get funding, because if you do it in any other order, then you setting yourself up for failure. If you go to get funding and they actually give you funding because maybe your credit score is okay and maybe you set your business up right, but if you don't have the right systems and processes, then you do not have a funnel for you to make sales and for you to deliver whatever you promise to deliver. Then you end up blowing the money that they're giving you.
So it's a matter of being ready.
Getting ready.
Before you start necessarily taking out loans or asking for money. That honestly sounds a lot like what Tabitha Brown said. I don't know if you saw that, but Tabitha Brown, she's a social media influencer. She's an actress. She's been very successful. She's got spices and cookware and books and a children's show and all these different things. And she started off as a social media influencer. And I think that there was a TikTok or video that blew up where she was reviewing a sandwich from Whole Foods. Recently, in the past probably 2 months or so, she had a video on TikTok and Instagram that talked about how for entrepreneurs, sometimes you got to keep your 9 to 5 while you're doing everything else. If you've been doing something for so long and you're not making money, you got to think about having a 9 to 5. And somehow or another, that video got juxtaposed and turned around, and she was like she was killing everybody's dreams who's a entrepreneur and saying, oh, you made it, but you don't think other people can make it or whatever. And she was like, no, I think other people can make it, but saying that you got to bring money into your house regardless. You can't just put all your hopes and dreams into this entrepreneurial experiment that you're working on and not be able to pay your bills or not be able to feed yourself or your family. So, but the point of the matter is that it's hard. A lot of people have asked me, oh, how do you start a nonprofit? And I'll give whatever advice I think I can give, but also my nonprofit might be a lot different than yours. So the trajectory and the pathway might be completely different, and I might not have the advice that you need, but people are always looking for like a little kit. Like, let me give you this kit. And if you do these 4 things, then, because it can't be 12 things, that's too many. But if it's like 4 things and you do it, then people will be like, oh, okay, so that's how I can do it, because then I can pay myself a salary. But it's also harder. Like, I get so mad at everybody trying to be an entrepreneur. I think that there could be a lot of entrepreneurs, but everybody can't be an entrepreneur. Everybody's not built to be an entrepreneur, because it's that startup life for a very long time. And you are also, as a sole proprietor, the weight of everything is on you if you have employees. If you have employees, then they are dependent on you. I compare it to being a parent. They are dependent on you to do your job so that they can eat. Because if I don't fundraise and I don't do my job, I can't pay my staff. If I can't pay my staff, they can't feed themselves, they can't feed their children, whatever. Obviously, they can go off and get another job somewhere else. But it is solely my responsibility as being the executive director that I have to take the brunt for all the good and the bad. So even if the employee F's up, then that's really on me, because when people hear Make It Work Nevada, the first thing they think of is me. They're not thinking of this person or that person. It's like, oh, well, what did Erika do? And I have to accept that. There's some good things that come with that too, some awards or, some shine, this, that, and the third. But more negative might come out of it than positive. And again, if I don't do my job on a Sunday in the morning or on a Thursday night at 11 o'clock at night, it could directly affect the people who work for me, but also the people we try to work for in doing the work that we're trying to do. And that's a lot of responsibility. And most people don't have the emotional or intellectual capacity and strength to be able to do it.
Most definitely. It's a lot of different traits that come with being an entrepreneur. Well, actually being successful at it. Everybody think that it's so glittery because the internet and everything that's going on now is giving you these little flashes of entrepreneurship. Yeah, I woke up and I jumped on a plane this morning because I felt like it. And it's like, dude, a lot of the internet is full of frauds. It's so much smoke and mirror that people do not understand it. And it took me a while to understand it. So even in my journey, this is my 4th year with Real Life Business Solutions. The first couple years, I just spending my own money. Like I make a little bit, spend a little bit, make a little bit. Going into last year, I started doing more with nonprofits. I would get some money from them and I would invest in myself. This year was the first year. So I've been in business about 3 years, but I didn't take out any type of like loans or anything against my business. But this year I did. And it was because I had enough set up to start doing stuff. Mm-hmm. And I know that this worked a certain way because I worked it a certain way. I'm telling people it's not what it's made out to be on the internet, but that runs people away. So I had to realize that it was a lot of smoke and mirrors. I got caught up in it. I'm running ads and stuff. I'm getting all these tire kickers. I stopped my ads maybe about 6 weeks ago. I'm like, all of these tire kickers, these are people that really don't want to invest in themselves. They want to download this free ebook or do whatever else. But these people don't really want to invest in themselves. And if they do, they looking for a shortcut. Nobody is really looking to build a business. So I decided, look, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to sell this coaching program. I'm going to do this and that because I want to work with people that actually want to improve themselves and to grow their business. And a lot of the people that's sitting online clicking on these ads and stuff, man, they don't want nothing to do with that. They want you to tell them, I can turn your 10,000 into 50,000 in 6 months, and they'll give it to you. They don't care. They'll give it to you if you tell them they don't have to do any work. And then 6 months later, when you don't have the 50,000 for them, oh my God, he's a scam. He's a fraud. And it's like, dude, y'all don't really want to put the work in. If you tell them you got to go through 12 different steps, they run it. When they realize my course is 5 hours, people are running. They really want a 30-minute YouTube video to give them all the answers. And it doesn't work like that. It took me 6 years to get an MBA. What makes you think you're going to get all of this information in 30 minutes that's going to propel you to the next level? But if they take the time and watch the course, I'm talking about I put a lot of information in this course, and it wasn't YouTube information. It was what it really takes to get to the next level. And my next level I'm not a millionaire, so I'm not telling people you can be a millionaire. I'm telling people I did 6 figures. Half of the year coming out of school, I've already done better than 6 figures this year. And I'm telling people I've done this with hustle. Business. I can't tell you how to be a millionaire. I can lie to you and tell you, hey, you want to be a 7-figure entrepreneur, blah, 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 blah. But I'm lying to you. I ain't there yet. I don't know how to tell you that. But I can tell you how to do 6 figures. This is my first year out of school, and I did better than 6 figures in 9 months.
Well, first, congratulations. That's dope.
Thank you.
It still deserves a congratulations because there isn't a lot of shine in those late nights and figuring out the stuff that you don't know how to do and the things that come up that you didn't know. And you're like, oh, I got to do that. Oh, shoot. Okay. So then it's learning, but it's also sharpening your skills and your brain and all that. But I want to pivot because one of the things when I text you and asked if you wanted to do the show that you wanted to talk about that I think is a great segue is Cardi B and Offset. So as you are talking about all the work it takes to get where you're going and all of the blood, sweat, and tears and the constant grind and all of that to do what you need to do, it made me think about, oh, you want to talk about Cardi B and Offset getting divorced and Offset asking for alimony, upwards to $50 million apparently in alimony. And so Cardi B, the rapper, which most people know, and Offset, also a rapper from Migos. I don't even know if Migos even still exists now. I know that one of them passed away, but I don't know if the group itself exists or what he's actually does now. I don't know anything about him besides that he was Cardi B's husband. And so they have 3 children together. They were married for 7 years. And I think they're still technically married. And when I pulled up some numbers just to look, she's worth over $100 million. I don't know what he's worth. And their marriage broke down because of infidelity on his side of it. And so, but now they've been separated for over a year, and she is pregnant, and she is pregnant by someone else, her new boo. And so, which I think added to the request, because he hadn't requested anything. He just wasn't signing any papers. But, and then she's saying that he's not really seeing the kids, this, that, and the third. So there's a lot of back and forth in social media. I did also recently see him talk to Keke Palmer and say that he didn't treat her well, and that he needed to take accountability, X, Y, and Z, even though I don't know if asking for $50 million in alimony is taking accountability. So I wanted to get your thoughts on where you stand on alimony and on either side. Especially when you work that hard to do all that work, because Cardi B, he don't have nothing to do with her success.
Definitely. She definitely got it out the mud. So just to be clear, I was like one of the first people here, like with a nice following, that actually was like, look, Cardi B got it. When she was dropping those mixtapes before I went to the federal prison, I swear I was telling people, and I've seen interviews during those times where Cardi B was talking about, look, I'm only eyeing the top spot. I want to be the greatest. I don't mind putting the work in. So I want to say that she definitely deserved everything that came to her. I don't care if she write her raps. This is not what music is. It's not that. It's a show. It's a show and go type of thing. And she's done great at getting herself to the top of that spot. So with Offset, and I just Googled it, he's worth approximately anywhere from $28 to $40 million. I don't think he needs her money per se, but I do believe that I don't think it's unfair. I feel like if it's good for the goose, it's good for the gander. I feel like if the shoe's on the other foot, we would not have a problem with her saying, I want some of that money, even if she had her own.
So I feel like you also, there should be a penalty here, right? Because
there
you can't cheat on me and take my money too. That's awful.
There should be a penalty, and the penalty is whatever he got going on with his family. I don't feel like he's right. I'm not saying that he's right in his pursuit of the money, but what I'm saying is him actually doing it don't make me feel like he's wrong either. Weird, but I'm saying I don't feel like I wouldn't do it. Right? Me personally, it's not something I would do.
Do you think it's manly for a man to take money from a woman?
If he needed it, let's say the Britney Spears situation, where he actually needed the money, with Britney Spears and her ex-husband.
Is that Kevin Federline?
Kevin Federline.
We're talking about?
Yeah, he was a dancer. Yeah. So he actually needed the money. I feel like with that situation, it made more sense. In this situation, you don't need the money. You're just being spiteful. You understand what I'm saying? So
petty. Just petty.
It's petty. I don't think that is right, and it's not something I would do. But I don't like the way social media has these double standards with everything. So I like the fact that he's doing it because it creates these type of conversations, if that makes sense.
Well, and this gets into gender roles, right? So sometimes I feel people don't know which side they sit on with gender roles. Because on one hand, people are like, oh, you got to let a man lead. Oh, the woman is the helpmate. She's the piece. She's the rib. She's all of this. So then when a divorce comes into play and giving a woman spousal support, it feels like that goes along with that line of thinking that if a woman is your helpmate and does all of this and then y'all break up because of infidelity or whatever, especially if it's on the man side of it, that then you pay this alimony because the woman was not the breadwinner. And so in the other case where she is obviously the breadwinner of it, but he wasn't destitute by any stretch of the imagination, but also he cheated. But I don't think there is, for me as a woman who believes in equity and equality, I do believe that there are still some gender roles that belong in marriages. If you married to me, I'm not taking out the garbage. What is happening with that, right? And we can share in bills. I'm not like a 50-50. That's weird, but people should just be
Handle the business.
People should be investing into your home. You're right. It's your
Let's
home.
just handle the business.
Right. You live here. So we should be putting money towards it. But I also think if I have that kind of money, I have a prenup. And I don't understand why I don't have a prenup. Like, why is there not a prenup involved here? Because if you work that hard to have all of this, then I completely think that even regular people should have prenuptial agreements. And especially because it protects not just you, but it also protects your children. And if you have children that don't belong to that person or whatever, they need to be taken care of. But in the end, the children themselves just need to be taken care of. And it's like, okay, well, I'm going to put a certain amount aside for kids. And just be that and be like, so this goes in the pot. You got to put this much in the pot. I got to put this much in the pot. And we got to make sure our kid is taken care of for as long as possible. So that if anything ever happens with accounting or whatever, we got money over here to make sure our kids are set. Not for you to eat off of, not for you to go get a private plane and wine and dine all your little that whatever. It's not even attractive. So he really just does not deserve all of that money in the first place. But
so you think she attractive?
I think Cardi is pretty, but I think she's attractive because I think she's smart. Like, I really think she's a smart person. And when you watched that drama that unfolded around this lawsuit that came out, and she was sued because the girl said that she hit her or whatever. And when you watch that, and you watch that attorney not be smart talking to her, first of all, I was like, I couldn't believe that he was as not bright as he was. But you can't underestimate a woman who spent her formative adult years being an exotic dancer and having to hustle for money the way that she did, that she didn't know how to have conversations or how to intellectually manipulate a man, because she had to make them come up out their pockets so that she could eat. So you figure that out. And so the fact that he took it as she's some dumb ex-stripper rapper girl is ridiculous. But also, she's a reader, right? She can talk about politics. I've listened to her talk about politics and policies and different things. And I think people take an accent and, a hood life and all of that and what she raps about, underestimates who she is. And I think all of those things make her pretty.
And I agree with you. She definitely has some sense. Like I said, with her, talking during certain interviews and just talking about, look, I'm not doing this to be number two. Like, just to have that attitude is a whole different type of mindset. So I love what she stands for and overcoming things. Like, I don't even have a problem with the accent and none of that stuff. I'm from the hood. I dig it. Even to get back to gender roles, the woman has clearly said she don't cook, she don't clean. And that's fine, because you can afford somebody to do it for you, just like he can afford for somebody to take out the trash. So at a certain point, gender roles are naturally blended. There's gray areas no matter what, because money is solving a lot of the problems, right? So if we both get up in the morning and go hustle, then it's not a regular gender role that we have. And even though she does have some sense, I don't feel like she's that smart, because she just went and got pregnant by a guy that just had 2 babies. At the end of the day.
But I don't know if that makes her not smart or not, because if she got pregnant on purpose, then she got pregnant on purpose because she said she wanted some more kids. So, and she can afford to take care of her children now. And maybe this person is a good father. Oh, he could still be a good father and have this small litter of children he has.
I have 2 back-to-back. I'm a great father. I'm not knocking that. I'm saying at some point our decisions have to be held to a certain level for us to put labels on them. Like, smart decisions are smart decisions no matter what. He could be a great father. I don't know that. But at the end of the day, for me to say that, hey, I'm a genius, I have to make genius level decisions. I have to say, okay, this is not a smart decision, especially with somebody of her caliber. There's levels to who you date and who you have access to. If you are dealing with money and you're dealing with a certain level of prestige, you have to date with some type of sense to that too, for me to feel like you were smart. I'm not saying she's stupid. I'm just saying you got to make better decisions. I feel like they're giving her so much room to be whatever she want to be. Okay, he messed up, but I just feel like there's still a very sloppy situation for you to be walking around with another man's baby and you, whoever it would be, and you're still married. And that's something that you can go down and take care of. Y'all can stop whatever y'all doing, go in there, nail this
Not
down
if he doesn't
and
sign
get
it.
this over.
If he keeps fighting a divorce, then it makes it harder. But to your point, I do understand. And I do believe there should be more space. Like, I'm always really my mind is kind of blown at how quickly people move on into new relationships. Because I guess maybe I'm more of a tortoise, I guess, in such things, is that I need space between for myself to also figure out, like, what went wrong? Where's my accountability in what went wrong? Like, where's my accountability in who I chose and how I got into the situations that I've gotten into, or what, and then healing from whatever heartbreak is there, and then figuring out what my new normal is. Like, I'll be completely honest. Like, I've been divorced now for it's been 2 years, and I ain't been on a date yet, and don't actually feel like it. I just don't feel like it. Like, I don't be bothered, to be honest with you. But I don't have any desire to jump into any sort of relationship or to be involved in somebody that deeply. And so it's always just so interesting when people do. I'm like, but you ain't been by yourself for a while. Like, I need to breathe. Like, I need to, like, it's got to naturally come back to me to even want to care about somebody else's day and invest time into their life and their family's life and what's going on and all of that. Because you're adding so much, and then they gotta get to know you. So you're like starting over of explaining, like, why you work the hours you do and how much I travel and all these different things and you got to find balance to want to be with somebody. So then it's this give and take, right? Like, you're trying to balance my life with your life and the compromise and all that. You need room where you're not compromising, where you just like, that's fine.
I think you overlooking a little something. So with somebody like a Cardi B and other celebrities, there's other celebrities that I don't want to pick on her per se, but with women of a certain lifestyle, women that have been through certain things in their life, they are not looking at themselves the same way that you are able to look at yourself. You're able to take the time to be single, to actually look at everything that happened, to say, okay, how did I get here? How can I not be here again? Where a person that has lived a certain lifestyle, they never take the time to look at themselves because it is something that they don't want to face. When you see somebody like a Cardi B or a Cash Doll, because she just went through a very similar situation, and you look at people that have been through some of the things that they've been through in their life, you have to realize that as much as they put on for the cameras, social media, the public and everything like that, they have things within themselves that they have that they want to hide, that they want to keep buried, that they don't want to actually face. That mirror is one of the most dangerous things in the world to somebody who has lived a certain lifestyle and they don't want to face that. So the fastest way to get over a relationship is just to get in another one before you're able to look in the mirror. Me, I do a lot by myself, and it could be prison, but I've always been very introspective and I've always been kind of a loner, right? Even before I went to prison, it's just my personality. While I am able to socialize, I prefer to be by myself so I can think things through.
Yeah, I mean, I'm an only child. I'm an only child, and I spent a lot of time with my grandparents. So I spent a lot of time around a lot of old people. And so I enjoy my own company, and I enjoy being alone. I could be in my house for days and days and days at a time and not really go nowhere. Like, I might take a walk. I like to walk and stuff like that. But I ain't really got to talk to nobody. Like, I can cook a whole meal with Law and Order or Club Shay Shay on Springy and just be in here just making stuff, singing along to Luther Vandross.
Enjoying your own company.
Yeah.
So that's why you can enjoy your own company and don't need to force yourself to be in a relationship. These women are not looking for real love. They just need companionship. As long as somebody is here, as long as somebody's texting me good morning or somebody's texting me, hey, I was thinking about you, they're looking for a certain type of feeling, and it don't matter where it comes from. It don't matter. She got all the money in the world and it don't matter.
Yeah, and you're right. Like, I did hear her say at one point when she was talking about healing over the breakup that she's like, I could be out with friends or at the club or whatever. And she's like, oh my God, I got to go home alone. And I remember thinking when she was saying that, I was like, Girl, ain't nothing wrong with that. You go home alone, you're going to take a shower, and then you're going to get into bed and sprawl out like a starfish and sleep well until the morning and get up when you feel like it or whatever. And I'm like, that sounds fine to me. And I do get that some people, I'm very much an introvert. So I think that also has something to do with it. So folks who need that outer stimulation and really love to be amongst all the people, that could be hard. And when you're used to being with someone who shares your history and all the inside jokes, I think that's also, in the sense for me, a little bit, when you're starting over, the inside jokes aren't there, the history isn't there, and all of that. And so, and you're building something new, and you have to, and I, for me, have to be in the right mindset to want to build new memories with somebody. And I'm like, friends though, I got friends that I can hang out with. I have great friends that I've had for decades at this point. I've got my work. I got them kids. I mean, my kids is grown now, whatever. I got hobbies. I'm trying to find new hobbies.
You see how you just described a relationship?
What'd I do?
Inside jokes and such and this and that. I don't think you get it. A relationship for them is none of that. Do you understand what I'm saying? I don't think you get it. A relationship for them is just somebody. A warm body. It's it. That's all they gotta be, is a warm body. You see what I'm saying? Where you are looking at a relationship for what a relationship is actually worth. Somebody that you share your life with, your innermost secrets, whatever. And you say there's inside jokes and we can laugh at things that other people don't get and blah, blah, blah. No. A relationship to certain people is just a warm body. She did not say, I miss that man, and you see what she said, I'm going home alone. It didn't matter who went home with her, as long as somebody was there. And that's the point that I'm making. At some point, you have people that just want somebody there.
So it's just like replacement, like when people have their dogs die and then they go get another dog.
I just get another dog. You're not here.
And when my dog ran away, I never got another dog.
This is what I'm saying.
You make a good point when you say that. And then I think, and we were talking about the gender roles and how gender roles are blurred when that much money is involved, because then it's not about who does this and who does that, because a lot of it can be subcontracted out or farmed out elsewhere. So then it's a matter of what are your roles and what does a relationship look like when you're busy. You're busy because you're out and you have to travel because of work. More so, I travel because of work, but Cardi B, you're going to be on the road for months and months at a time, right? Or a Beyonce type of situation. You're out there and you're having to be in this public space and do certain things. And so, you're not cooking and cleaning or even taking out the garbage because you have folks that do that. But I think about what is the expectation? Because then I thought what came to my head was Halle Berry and her ex-husband, David Justice, got on that podcast, running his mouth. Yeah, I was looking at her and realizing she wasn't really wife material. She don't cook and she don't do this. And it's like, when was Halle Berry supposed to be cooking you meatloaf when she was out, on movie sets and winning Academy Awards? And not to say that she could never cook something for him. I don't know if she cooks or don't cook, right? Because everybody don't. And so saying that to me made him look obtuse, because what was your expectation for this person that you're with? Same way her expectation probably couldn't be, he wasn't going to fix the garage door, because he out playing baseball or whatever it is he was doing. I think he was a baseball player, right? I don't remember. Mm-hmm. Anyway, he's Halle Berry's ex-husband, because that's your title now at this point. But the expectations change based upon your station in life. So if you are in a certain class or income bracket versus this one and going all the way up, and you getting up into the Bezos and the Oprah Winfrey's and all of that, your gender roles look different. And you might cook, but you probably cook because you enjoy it. And it's something you feel like doing because that's what you enjoy. Like, I enjoy cooking. If I made $1 billion, I'd still cook. I may not cook every meal, and I may even have a chef because I can't do it all the time, and I can afford now to have somebody make all the things I want. But at certain points, I'm gonna get in the kitchen and I'm gonna make some stuff because that is peace for me. Like, I actually enjoy the process, all of it. And so I would do it. Same with Kamala Harris. She cooks. I'm sure she wasn't cooking all the time as vice president, but at some point she was probably cooking. But I think that's just a really important point to bring up, that people have to think about when we think about gender roles, that those things look very different, and they need to look different for everybody's household or whatever's comfortable for whatever's going on in your life. But your expectations have to be a little bit different when you're dealing with folks who have certain jobs. You know, I wouldn't even just say money, but certain jobs. If you're a truck driver and on the road X number of days out the week or month, then the expectation will be different of how you contribute at home.
Yeah, it got something to do with that. It got something to do with people just have to be realistic, right? If the woman out getting the bag, like you said with Halle Berry and whoever else, Kamala Harris, whatever, if the woman out getting to a bag, listen, I'm not going to do a whole lot of cooking, but what I will do is buy something to eat. And it ain't no different than hiring a chef or whatever else. Every relationship is different. I don't believe in 50-50 and all that. I believe in sometimes you, sometimes me. It's going to be what it's going to be. Now, if you're out and you're making money, you can't expect for me to take care of the house and pay all the bills and do this.
So that's that 50-50 conversation that people are having right now. Like, I don't know exactly where that started or where that came from, like going 50-50.
And it don't matter. People tripping, man. Relationships are 100-100. You give your full effort, I give my full effort, and we do the best we can do together. All of this internet stuff is weird. Like, these people have no type of validity, no type of credibility to their conversation. As I stated earlier, I've been pretty good at understanding things a little deeper, how things start at childhood.
What made you understand things differently, even over in the past couple of years? Where's that growth come from?
My growth, my personal growth. People that like, oh, I'm a street dude. And that's something that they kind of stand on. It's like, I'm a street dude. And with me, it was like, dude, I've never been really like a street dude. I've been in the streets, but I wasn't really like Jeezy, where I'm like, you know, this is what I do. You know, we in the streets. I never felt like that. Even my music was always, it was introspective. And that was a way that it was like certain people that would review my music, like, it's so introspective. Even though it's street music, it's so introspective. And I've been able to silence a lot of things, especially since I finished school. I've had a little more time. And I want to know how my thought process works. I want to know why I feel a certain way. And my brother, who's been through the same things that I've been through, why he feels a certain way. You know, why did the same, going through the same situation, my brother back locked up now. And do you know, he called me so entitled. He called me and said, bro, come get me. I said, what? Like, dude, I'm out here doing something different. I don't got to come get you. And I left him in there this time. And it's a reason that I did. And the bond was cheaper this time than it was last time. But the reason that I did it is because I've grown. And I'm like, bro, I cannot be there for you every time you bump your head. At some point, I come save you, and fast as you can find a reason to dog me, I get dogged. I'm fine, right? You remember the first time you interviewed me, I go to call him, he changed his number. I had just bonded him out 2 months before that. You don't remember that? I go to call him, I'm like, dog, his number changed. And he really did change his number on me and told somebody, yeah, I changed my number because my brother. I'm like, dude, I never did nothing to you. So it made me, even with that situation, right? Just being honest, we 11 months apart, not even 11 months apart. And we both went through foster homes, juveniles, that stuff, state prison. He's never been to the feds. But it made me realize, why am I taking everything the way I'm taking it? And why is he taking everything so hard? I don't smoke, drink, nothing. And he's on everything. He do whatever. And I spoke to him a couple years ago about my mom party. And my aunt wanted his phone number, and my brother had this issue with this. And he was like, they didn't want my phone number in 96. And I'm like, bro, in 96? But that was when we were taken away from our mom. My family washed their hands of me in 96 when I went to a foster home. And he is 40 years old.
So he's stuck on certain, there are certain things. And I think that happens to everybody. There are certain markers where you get stuck, and those things stand out so clear for you. And other people be like, I don't even remember that. What happened then? And even if it was something that was important, but you were able to like move past that into something else, but something else got you stuck at some point, and then you got past it. But thinking about your brother then, like with you being on different planes and going in not necessarily the same direction, how do you hold on to that relationship while still healing and working towards growth for yourself and your family, but not having to leave him behind? Because I think, or can you?
Leave who behind?
Your brother.
It's a grown man.
I understand, but you're so closely intertwined with your life. And, well, let me ask you this. Can you see the potential in him?
No.
Do you think he sees potential in himself?
No.
So then what happens, or how do you...
I'm over it.
You think that's permanent?
Yeah, I'm over it. I'm
Okay.
fine. Yeah.
And I'm not saying that like it's like, I leave space and room in there because...
He can grow. We are all humans. We grow. So he can grow and then we can revisit it. So it's a...
You think that'll happen?
No. I don't.
You don't think there'll be growth for you to revisit in 5 years?
No. No. And it's fine.
But should there be like a layer of hope there?
No. What happens with people is you have to take them for what they are. And you have to accept certain things for what they are until they show you something different. Now, if we talk in 5 years and he's made progress, I can say, okay, I can see where this is going. But the trajectory is the trajectory. Bullets don't turn around. A trajectory is a trajectory until you change the direction you shoot it in. So until he does that, what he's doing is exactly what he will be doing. And what I'm doing is going to go get me my PhD. I'm fine. The trajectory is the trajectory for anybody. So I'm not looking at anyone with anything other than what they're doing. So I'm not looking at anybody and saying, oh my God, you have so much potential. I'm looking at, oh my God, what are you doing? And this is what leads to that, unless you change something. That's it.
I think that could be used also in dating advice, because people talk about potential all the time, especially for women. They're like, oh, you got to see the potential in the man and where they're going and da, 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 da. And I think that has done a disservice to a lot of us women. And, oh, well, there's potential there. They potentially could be doing all these things. And we are pouring into potential that hasn't ever elevated into anything. And it's like, you have to see what's right here, right now. And so if it's not here right now, then it may happen, but we got to not pour into the potential.
With what you're saying, the only thing that's missing is the trajectory, because where you are is not necessarily where you're going to be, but what direction are you going in? So if you meet a man and he may not be where you would want your man to be, but what direction is he going in? What habits do he have? What goals do he have that he's actually pursuing? Right? I'm not saying somebody to tell you, yeah, I want to go back to school. No, somebody that's actually in school, doing good in school, doing this. You see what I'm saying?
The acting on
and
the
you can see
potential. Yes, seeing the project.
That's it. So when they say you see the potential, what women are doing is seeing something that's not there. And that's what I'm saying with my brother. For you to see what he's doing, if that man sleeps in to 12, 1 o'clock in the afternoon, wake up to a drink, it's nothing to look at for potential. It's nothing to look at for potential. He talked you out your panties and got you thinking more than what he really is. The potential comes from the man waking up, going to work. He's saying, I want to start my own business. And you see him researching that business. You see him actually going to some type of business courses or doing something. And you see it, like, I see it. He's actually pursuing this. A person can tell you anything, but when you see them, and not over a 3-month period or whatever, if you see them actually putting those pieces together, then you go get that man and you assist him if you can assist him. That is fine. And vice versa with women, because it's the same concept. You got men who come and think they're saving a woman because she told them my ex was so abusive and he cheated on me and he did this and he did that. And you get men who want to be superheroes and run into this relationship, right? So if a woman tell me, oh, he cheated on me first, you still a piece because you should have just left. It don't matter to me, right? But that came with growth because I was somebody that used to want to throw on a cape. right? And the same way with my brother. It was literally like I was almost his dad. He didn't get a pair of Jordans till I bought them. Right? I was in the streets. I bought Jordans for him and everything else he wanted. And he'd say that, like, my brother was like my daddy. And that relationship has made me realize, like, you can give somebody a crutch. In his mind, even when I came home from the feds, I didn't come home from the feds and my brother have something lined up for me like a job or none of that. My brother met with me and my lady and my kids. And my brother said, okay, let's get back to it. I said, no, bro, I'm going to school. He come and this is his conversation. Why? What you mean you want to go to school? What does that mean for me?
Well, he wanted you to be the same person.
Yeah, that's cool. Just like he thought he was going to call me and I was going to bond him out like I did last time. But at this point, see, it's been about 2 years. I don't think people really understand growth. My growth is almost exponential. Where people talk about potential, they talk about a ceiling. My floor is higher now. And what I mean by that is things that I give attention to have to be of a higher level of importance for me to even give it attention. So where the ceiling is a certain level, your potential is your potential. But to get closer to your potential, you have to raise the floor. Right? So certain things are below my floor. Him needing borrow money is below my floor now. And my floor will only be higher next year. You see what I'm saying? So where people have these thought process, oh, that's jackpot, I'm gonna do it. Even people that's locked up, before I used to send money to all my friends, he go a couple dollars. Over the last year and a half, I got one guy that's like really close to me that's like my guy, and he can call and ask for something. Everybody else, just now, since we've been on here, I got a call from jail. I don't even answer calls no more. He rarely call. He'll tell my sister, tell bro, I need a little something, I'll send it. But it's not, my floor is higher.
And I think that, dumb it down, I guess, a little bit. It really feels like a lot of those rap songs when people will be like, you changed, you got out the hood and you changed and you're not doing this or you're not doing that. And so then a lot of times that's to people's detriment that they get sucked back into certain situations because they have grown. But then the guilt factor that people can apply to you, peer pressure, what have you, to still do certain things or still act a certain way or still show up in certain spaces where you really don't belong anymore, but people would do it anyway. And then folks end up getting shot or folks end up in precarious situations that they don't need to be in because they're trying to prove a point that they are still the same old X, Y, and Z, even though they're really not, and they shouldn't be because they're elevating themselves, but folks will make you feel bad for it. And I think that one thing you have done is not that, because the fact that you are talking about growth and talking about that you're not going to bond him out or you're not going to entertain certain conversations or certain scenarios because you are on this trajectory that is taking you towards all the goals that you want and even past some of the goals you may have not even imagined at this point. But the only way that happens is by staying steadfast and moving in a certain direction. But it is very easy, especially with someone with your background and someone who knows a number of people who may not even remotely have a goal in their brain to do anything other than what they've been doing for the past 20, 30 years, to fall back in that because you can commiserate over old times. You can shoot the shit with them because y'all went through a lot of the same things. So you have this sort of camaraderie with somebody from the past, but it's not who you are now. But sometimes that pull is hard, right? To not want to still be connected to those people. But those people may, in those situations, in those neighborhoods and all of that, may not be good for your health.
Yeah, I don't have to have hood conversations anymore. I'm not in the hood. I haven't done anything to make me have to worry about keeping it real. I have not told on anyone where I need to make up anything. I don't have anybody looking for me because I owe them. I don't have any reason to not sever ties with certain people. Now, I do have friends that are still friends, but I had to show them the new me so they respect what I have going on. Even some of my friends, when my brother was first in there, they were calling me like, bro, calling, bro. I say, man, that's y'all problem. It ain't my problem. They don't even know what that look like, right? They don't know what that look like because before his bro call, he said, blah, 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 okay, I'm gonna go there in the morning. But I have to show them because you can tell people you've grown, but they only know what you tell them. You have to show people the growth and what that actually means because I haven't done it. And
Yeah.
I haven't
And
called them and said, hey, have you talked to my brother? I don't care.
And after a certain amount of time, they just not even going to entertain certain things with you because they going to know that you don't entertain those conversations anymore.
I was in the hood. When I first came home, I just got in school. I just got off tether. Everything was moving in the right direction. And one of the guys I grew up with was like, Jackpot, can you take me up the street or whatever? And he jumped in my car. His car was over there, but I'm like, all right, hop in. I'll take you over there, whatever. I took him and he caught a sale. Went to catch a sale. He asked me to take you to go catch a sale. I'm like, oh, okay, y'all, this ain't really where I need to be at. So certain things like that and other things that kind of make you look, I have to draw the line or I'm going to be the one getting shot in a car with somebody that shouldn't be in the car with you or doing whatever. And with my brother, I haven't said this publicly, but I feel like it's more at risk than anything else because the people closest to you have the most access to you. And I had this conversation with my big brother who's a church dude. I said, listen, you haven't seen certain things the way I've seen it. I've seen brothers kill their brothers. I've seen certain things. And I said, even with you being this church guy, the first act of heinousness was a brother killing his brother. And you still don't think it's real because it hasn't been close to you, right? You've read it, but you don't understand how this can turn out. So with me cutting ties and me doing certain things, it's because I understand that this can get bad. You haven't seen how bad this can get.
Yeah. And you got to think about your children. You got to think
Everything.
about
Yeah, this could be life or
your
death.
fiance.
Yeah, so bro, just stay over there. And like I said, if I see a different trajectory, then I can intervene and help and whatever. But until that, it's nothing that I'm worried about. I haven't asked how he was doing. I went to get his kids yesterday. One was already going with one of our other guys, but I took his daughter and I took my niece skating and whatever. Like, I'm fine. I can help with the kids and do whatever else because he in there. But I can't worry about somebody that's 40 years old, man. I'm 41, he's 40. Bro, you got to get it together. Like, just is. You know.
Before we go, because we didn't get to the full list of things we want to talk about, but I did want to mention Diddy and the verdict and wanted to get your thoughts on the sentencing. He was found guilty of, I guess, it's soliciting, prostitution, and then across state lines, some things of that nature. But he got, 5 years total, just about, somewhere around 5 years. But that's also including time that he's currently been in prison, which has been a little over a year at this point. Were you surprised by the verdict and the sentence, or was it along the lines of what you expected?
I won't say that I was surprised. America is a hell of a country. America is a hell of a country, especially for us. I wasn't surprised, disappointed, maybe.
In what way? Do you think he should have got less, more?
Definitely. I felt like they should have let that man be free.
Why?
Everybody had their own level of freakiness. And that's the thing I could say about it. And now the older men have a certain level of influence. And that's something that has been talked about more than not with people like him and Russell Simmons and different things like that. But it's not talked about on the other side, right? It's not talked about that somebody like Elvis Presley had a very young woman. I'm just saying.
Elvis Presley was like 15 or something.
I'm just saying it's something that they make us feel like, oh my God, it's the end of the world when one of ours is being accused of something. And these women were actually of age, even though they were young. Elvis Presley had a very young lady, and they have not took his music down. They have not done, you see what I'm saying? So this is my problem more so than what he did or didn't do. It's the fact that we're supposed to stone our celebrities and the people that we look up to while they do nothing. They make movies about them. They make them the king of rock or the king of country or the king of whatever. And they never turn away their people. They never strip them of their greatness. They never do that. Even when it comes out that they're super racist, even when it comes out that they running around with AIDS and having sex everywhere, whatever, it never comes to the point where they start to take away something from their people. They snatched Bill Cosby from us, Mike Tyson from us, Tupac from everybody that they can take away. And Jay has been pretty good at staying away from the BS and even the stuff that just tried to happen. He like, look, dog, keep my name out of that. Right? But for a lot of the people that we look up to and the people that we should be looking towards for some type of inspiration, they find something. And I'm not saying these people are perfect. I'm saying the way that they serve it to us is like, you're bad if you listen to R. Kelly's music. You're bad if you support such and such. R. Kelly is a weirdo. That stuff he was doing was weird and freaky than a mug. And Diddy is no different. That stuff was weird, freaky, and it ain't no different than the other people that's been on trial. They gave them people bond. They gave them white people bonds. These people have been known to traffic young women across the country, across the world, and they gave them bonds. That is my problem. They gave them bonds and they will probably get less time than Diddy. And they were actually trafficking young girls. You see what I'm saying? So that is my problem. Our community, they are basically injecting us with hate for each other. Where it's like, dude, you freaky. You way too freaky. But that's your freakiness. Jada Pinkett, that's her freakiness, bro. That ain't my business.
Well, Jada likes that everybody should know her business. But
it's her business.
To your point, what I'm hearing, your point is around the double standard. The double standard of what happens when a white celebrity does something versus when a Black celebrity does something. And the expectation on our side is to condemn and to basically wipe them out, like totally throw the whole thing away. So you take Bill Cosby and the Cosby Show and all of the good that came out of the Cosby Show itself and the inspiration that people got from that, which includes A Different World and all of that. And then you have also Michael Jackson, you also have R. Kelly, and then you have Diddy, and all these people who do things, and then we're expected to just really disown them, I guess, in that way. And I hear that. And yes, Elvis Presley was nasty, and he stole Black folks' music. All kind of white people do weird things too, right? Complete agreement in that, because that goes down to like the whole model minority situation of like, we have to be perfect, otherwise we're not okay. Like, you have to be so upset, you have to be Obama and never have had anything happen, and he still can get called out for whatever. But, never cheated on his wife, never had any sort of scandal, whatever. People can name all the things he ain't never been caught up in, nothing. And it's still, but if he did get caught up in one thing, it would be it would be on the news for months. And I get that. My issue with the whole thing is not his freakiness. My issue with R. Kelly is not him wanting to be peed on. It's nasty, but that's your business. And that's between you and whoever cleans up your bed and your sheets. And how many new mattresses you get. And then, but then and R. Kelly, in his baby oil, that's, again, you want to slip and slide for 6 years.
Diddy and the baby oil.
Like that. So, I mean, again, is that me? No. Do I want to be involved in your slip and slide? I do not. If he's gay or he likes to watch, again, that's his business and all of that. But he very much is a domestic abuser. He very much, everybody saw the video, and he claimed it didn't happen. He claimed that it was just out for money and he didn't do X. So you lie, you're a big old liar, until the video came out. Then it was like, oh yeah, I'm sorry. And so, which means he had been doing it multiple times. He has also probably blew up, cut his car. All of that probably happened. And then on top of it, he probably did a lot of other really shitty things. Like, not just freaky, but dangerous, illegal things that he has done. And enough people, and he intimidated enough people that they were afraid of him. And when you have that much money and that much clout and all of that, then people allow you to behave badly and they don't feel like they can say anything. And I think the same with R. Kelly. When the whole rumors were going around about Aaliyah and I were basically the same age. And so it didn't make any sense that you're going to marry somebody that, her parents there's a problem over there with her parents allowing that to happen. Even if Cassie was of age, the amount of physical and mental abuse that she was subjected to, and some of it she may have allowed, and some of it even in the beginning she may have went along with it, whatever, and then she got somewhere along the line, she got stuck in it and couldn't get out of it, and whatever happened there, I think that piece right there of the amount of abuse deserves more jail time. I think that he deserves jail time for the amount of abuse that he inflicted on other people and violence he inflicted on other people. Nothing to do. And if there were underage people involved in all of that, if you want to buy a prostitute and watch them have sex with each other or whatever, that's that. Prostitution ain't even illegal in the state of Nevada. Certain parts. That's the whole thing. Not in Vegas. Don't do it in Vegas. But go on out into the sticks. Prostitution is legal. But there is a line of where you abuse and intimidate people, where the disappointment for me is that he did not get time for the violence that he caused and the mental anguish that he caused multiple people, because it wasn't just Cassie, it was other people as well. And whether or not you listen to his music or not, I think would be totally up to, it should be a personal preference, whether or not you do that, because Chris Brown is also an abuser and people still throw themselves all over him and rub themselves all over his body, but he is also an abuser as well. So if you choose to support his music, that's your business. But if you don't, but there's not. So one thing Cassie said that really stuck with me is that in the end, that victims of abuse in that way will never really be validated, and they will never really be heard, not in this country. As long as this is a patriarchal society, there will always be. Otherwise, we wouldn't have this. We had the same conversation about Epstein. Epstein did so many awful things to women and young people. It sounds like little girls as well. And what's happening? Then the Epstein files become a political thing, and it's all about, are you going to release the files or not release the file? Where's the justice, though? And if there are celebrities, the president or anybody else, black, white, or otherwise, that were a part of all of that nastiness that was happening on them islands with Epstein, they also should be held accountable as well. Because there's plenty of people out there that we don't know their names that are walking around with this and walking around with this trauma and might be inflicting on other people, because hurt people, but they're not getting any justice for what happened, because the more money you got, the less likely you are to really be held accountable for abuse. And the abuse of women doesn't, in my opinion, is not taken seriously enough. People aren't held accountable in the way that they should. And I think that's where my disappointment comes in. But again, this whole thing about the baby oil and the freak offs and whatever, and the thing that people keep in their minds the most is because that's the way the media portrayed it. You portrayed it as, you're not portraying the hurt part. You're just talking about baby oil, or you're talking about him wanting to watch people have sex with each other and him, jerking off in the corner or whatever. Like, no, you shouldn't. That part doesn't even matter. Like, who cares? All we know is, you do some weird ass stuff. Same way with R. Kelly. You want to get peed on? Okay. But you like little girls. That is a whole problem. You like little girls. Nasty.
My point is just that another producer like Harvey Weinstein, like these people, I'm not saying that I'm not saying that what he did was wrong, because I don't feel like that at all. Right?
You don't feel like he was wrong?
But the only thing that I'm saying is, let's say, as far as the case, he could have blew up Kid Cudi car. Diddy could have been the reason Tupac did. Diddy could have been whatever. I'm just saying whatever it is.
It had something to do with Biggie's death.
My only thing with that is that, let's say he was abusive, right? We could say, okay, Diddy was abusive. He did whatever he did. That is like a misdemeanor. That's my only point.
But it shouldn't be. Everybody needs to be held accountable, and it should not be a misdemeanor. And I have to look at the fact that Diddy didn't get as many years as I think he should have got. He should have got more, not because of the prostitution part, but because of the abuse part. So whatever he's serving, even if they say it's for X, Y, and Z, what really in my mind you serving for is because you are an asshole who
That's
beats
emotional.
up on women.
That's
I don't care.
emotional.
I'm an
There we go.
emotional
Long as
person.
we admit to that, that's
I'm
emotional.
an emotional person.
But
That's what.
That's why they
needs to
put that video out, to be emotional. I'm saying legally. I'm only talking legally. What Chris Brown did.
He imprisoned her. That's a felony to imprison somebody.
Is that what the charge is?
Well, that's what it should be. I don't know if
That's
it's type
gonna-
of list. I
so
don't know the list of
the
what
main
all the
thing-
charges were. But
the-
she couldn't leave. He held her captive in that room.
Yeah. The main thing is that that's still domestic. I'm saying legally, it's a misdemeanor.
Beating up a woman should not be a misdemeanor.
It definitely shouldn't, but it is. So what I'm saying is Chris
don't care about
Brown, what Chris Brown did to Rihanna, I'm so sorry that it happened, but it's a misdemeanor. That's all I'm saying. It's a misdemeanor.
But what does that say about our society that it's a
It's
misdemeanor?
crazy. You should run for office. But what I'm saying is it is a misdemeanor. And what would have happened if he was of the complexion for the protection is that he would have had anger management, and they would have talked about how great it was for him to take ownership and to come out of that on the better side. That's all I'm saying.
No, I
It
I see what you're saying.
wouldn't have been let's boycott Aaron Afalo or whatever whatever the dude from Backstreet Boys or whoever. It wouldn't have turned into that. It wouldn't have been let's boycott, let's not buy his music. The media wouldn't have done that. They would have said, oh my God, he has really changed his life.
because
This
there would have been
situation-
a problem. It must have been because of drugs. It must have been because of alcohol.
But we can't let the media make us feel like that man deserved 10 years for that he was actually found guilty of. Forget all of the stuff that he was accused of, because he beat most of the charges were beat before it even went to deliberation. That go to show you what they tried to do to him. You see what I'm saying? It was beat before deliberation. This is what I'm saying. It was a case of
Well, that shows what they tried to do to him more so than they just did not have legally by the black letter of the law or whatever, and be able to get through loopholes just because they brought all these charges and because I don't want to use the word that they were beat, but if just because all these charges that were brought against him didn't come to fruition, doesn't mean that they weren't accurate, because just watching Law and Order, you can see, oh, well, this is inadmissible because of how this was found and all these different things that become legal loopholes, but doesn't make the crime not a crime. It doesn't mean that it did not happen. It means they can't use certain evidence. If you can't use this evidence, you are able to prove this, that, and the third.
That's what they want you to believe. The truth of the matter is they overcharged him. They tried to throw the book at him. Not a person that think, oh my God, black people don't have a chance at life, or no, I'm not that person, but I know how this works. Like, it's the same thing when you look at statistics of the laws or whatever. They're going to tell you white people are not being undercharged, or they're not being whatever. We're getting so much more time because you're going to give them drug treatment for these 3 rocks where you gave me 5 years. You see what I'm saying? It's a difference. And that's all I'm saying. So with Diddy or anybody else for that matter, Bill Cosby's, you talking about charges from 25 years ago. This man they didn't have proof of that. Even with Bill Cosby, I'm not saying that he's innocent. I don't know. I'm not going there. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, for one of their celebrities, it would have been home confinement, and they wouldn't have tried to take off the Cosby Show if it was white. You see what I'm saying? They're not doing that. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying that they're innocent. I'm not saying Bill Cosby's innocent. I'm saying Bill Cosby could have went through the same situation if he was white, and it wouldn't have been, they wouldn't have told white people to cancel him. They wouldn't have canceled his shows. They wouldn't have did that. Let the man go get his help. He's 70 some years old. You're not worried about him drugging anybody at this point. Let the man go get the help he need. Go get some sexual counseling, because that's freaky too, to me. And that's all I'm saying. We have to be a little more understanding of our people. And it's not to say
Because
that
that's
they're
humanizing, right? Because they have to be humanized. And the problem that has been the burden is that we were never seen as human from jump. We weren't even considered human when this country was founded.
Definitely.
We were property. Right. We were property. And after we were property, we were 3/5 of a person. And so, and even after that, it was like, you compared to monkeys or whatever it is, like it's always animalistic. Black men were seen as animalistic. Keep them away from you ladies because they out there they're raping and thieving and all of that. And Black women weren't seen as women. Ain't I a woman? Can't you cater to me? Can't you hold the umbrella up for me or whatever? But no, you got to be out there working in the fields like a mule. And then we were cattle, basically, and breeding and all of that. And so all of that stems down. And it's then stayed in the lexicon of the law and of just how people view as a whole Black folks. And so, yeah, so then when something like that happens, it's like, oh, well, they're not really human beings anyway. So then you have to cancel them. You have to X them all the way out. Like, you got to put them down like a dog or a horse or what have you. And whereas with white women and white men, like they're human. So human people, they're fallible, they make mistakes. And so I agree totally, but I guess it's that space of we as other Black people know that we are human and that we make mistakes and that we have issues. So there's this space of where do we give grace, but also hold real accountability and actually not allow mediocrity to bloom or and bad things to bloom, because we know out here, outside of our Black bubble, that they don't even see you as human at all. So then sometimes I feel like we might overprotect those who don't really need to be protected because we have this innate protection that we want to have for the entire Black community.
Hold everybody accountable. Hold them accountable to our level of accountability and say that, look, you need to pay for that. You need to do this. You need to do whatever. But with them, and we got to take all R. Kelly music. I don't care about all of that, bro. I listen to R. Kelly. I am 41 years old, and I was basically raised off of R. Kelly. And I'm going to not let you tell me that I can't listen to R. Kelly. I'm going to say, get them. Y'all should have got that man in 2000 and 2001 when that video surfaced. Y'all should have got him and got that man some help. And
you got some help in the 90s when he was talking about marrying Aaliyah.
Aaliyah, yeah, all that. This man has been sick and everything. So that's all I'm saying.
And on that note, thank you very much, Alvin, for a lively and stimulating conversation about all the things. And I think we did a good job of connecting the dots. I think we connected dots from Cardi to entrepreneurship to relationships. And as always, I am grateful and thankful for your conversation and friendship and just perspective on life. So thank you for joining Sticky Note Conversations.
No problem. And I definitely enjoyed being here. And you have been a great motivation. Shout out to Uncle P for bringing us together.
Right. Yeah. Look at that. It's going to be our anniversary.
Soup.
Thanks for listening to Sticky Note Conversations with Erika Washington. Hosted and executively produced by Erika Washington. With editing by Black Gypsy LLC and Simone Endres. Special thanks to KUNV 91.5 in Las Vegas. This show is powered by Make It Work Nevada, a project of Tides Advocacy. And a special thank you to Grove GT Teague and Eno Savad, who made our new theme song, Way Below Acceptable.